Alright, I don't actually show you making of my vehicle, but this is my vehicle. So I ended up, I think, keeping it under 30 parts. I don't actually have anything to gather science. I'm just going straight for as much getting to space and having delta V as I can. And starting off with as close to 140 tons as I can get. So having these two kickbacks, I think they're called, boosters, are great for having having a lot of acceleration. I can throttle down my my liquid booster if I need to keep the dynamic pressure down, but I mostly need that that liquid booster for vectoring. You can see I'm already having trouble keeping this thing straight because that top part I have just wants to flop over. But I'm still at max throttle with my liquid engine. I think I do reduce the gimbal down to 50% because it just likes to overcompensate on each of the corrections. Anyway, so 15 kilometers and my kickbacks are at maximum speed, 600 kilometers or 600 meters per second, 700 meters per second. Yeah, so just about 700 meters per second. Now my center booster here is heating up and I'm wondering why that's happening, and then I realize, oh no, I ruined my staging, and my Terrier on my next stage has already been firing for a good 20 seconds before I realize that, oh, and I have I have an engine going and burning my lower stage there. Anyway, I didn't use a whole lot of delta V doing that, fortunately, but I still could have had maybe a good 20 or 30 delta V that I wasted. So my big engine here, I really just need it to get me out into space, speed me up as much as possible, but I really don't want it when I'm going to the moon. So I put more weight into my upper stages with the Terriers, because as soon as I'm in space, my Terrier engines are going to be so much more efficient. So as long as I actually have enough speed going forward that I can get to orbit instead of just being suborbital, then I'm good to go. I get a little bit cocky and try to go sideways. I probably should have been flying more prograde the entire way, but I'm just optimistic on this launch, and you'll see I end up having to do a couple of correction burns to keep from getting back into the atmosphere for too long. So my apoaps is probably close to like 120 at this point. And I just keep assuming that I'm going to get nice and orbital, but you can see I am accelerating very slowly. I don't think I'm much faster than like 0.2 gravities, so like 2 meters per second, maybe 3. There it starts to go. Oh, I time warped, so I'm not actually speeding up that fast. I'm just time warped at 3x, and I really started to get nervous that I just spent too much of my my lower stage liquid booster going sideways, and I should have probably gone with a higher apoapse so that I could have not come back down into the atmosphere. Anyway, so I come back down in the atmosphere a little bit, and I just keep bringing my apoapse up and just hope that I don't explode. And I hope that I don't waste too much delta V on drag. So again, I could have probably, when I finished getting into orbit, probably had a lot more delta V than I ended up having if I had just done my ascent profile better. But I end up having so much delta V that I just call it good on this this launch, and I didn't redo it. If I wanted to, I probably could have gotten another 100 delta V out of it from doing my ascent profile better. I mean, you can see I'm already back in the I can't remember if this is 67,000 or 87,000. I'm almost back in the atmosphere, or I'm in the atmosphere, and I'm not even orbital. So at this point, I'm trying to decide whether I want to just keep getting my apoapse out, or whether I want to rotate my orbit so that my apo comes down and my peri comes up. And this isn't getting me to a good apoapse fast enough either. And when I go back to prograde, I just keep not deciding which one is going to be the most efficient with getting me out of the atmosphere the fastest. And since I'm in the atmosphere now, my apo is coming down because of drag, and it's just I did not get a good ascent profile on this ship that I made, and I didn't bother retrying it. So you get to see my ridiculous attempt, which I think is better TV to see something ridiculous than to just see perfection. Not that I actually could get perfection, but like I could do a lot better than I did on this. And funny enough, I actually finish getting to orbit and used that whole next stage. I did not anticipate that when I originally created this ship, that I would use the entire lower stage. But I did plan for, since I was in orbit, only having one Terrier, and these two exterior 800 unit tanks with decouplers, side decouplers, so that I would waste as little as possible of my my weight on an engine. And you'll see in the next part that I decide I have enough delta V to go to Minmus before I go to Mun. It's just, I have so much delta V, it's ridiculous. Anyway, wait for the next part.